when I say the words America's pastime, who knows what I'm talking about? Just raise your hand. All right, obviously, I'm talking about baseball. Baseball is my favorite sport. I love it, and that's why I'm going to talk about it. That's a baseball, just in case you guys didn't know. So first I'm going to talk about the history. In 1791, in Pittsfield, Massachusetts, was where it first started to sort of take form. This wasn't really like the game we know today. It was more like you just kind of throw a ball and you swing a stick at it, you try to hit it. And then later in 1845, a man named Alexander Cartwright formed the field, and that's when it really started taking form. He formed the diamond, which I'm going to talk about later, and that's when the game took. But this is not to be confused with the game called Rounders, which started in England. A lot of people would say that baseball started in England, but it didn't because it's America's pastime. It's not England's pastime. So yeah. And then now I'm going to talk about the formation of the game. In 1860, the first professional league was formed. It was called the National Association of Baseball Players, or NABBP. And they played for a while, and then the formation of the American Association, or the AL, came to be. They were also called the Beer and Whiskey League because they were the league that allowed alcoholic beverages to be served. And then for about 10 years, there was a World Series between the best team in the NL, the best team in the AL, and they would play each other, and that's how the World Series came to be. And then later in 1902, the MLB formed. These two leagues joined, and the MLB took form as it is today. So I can't tell you like every single rule. I don't have enough time for that, but I'm just going to go over a couple. Baseball is played on the diamond. You have home plate, first base, second base, and third base. So it's like a diamond, and you have to once the batter hits the ball, he has to run around. You get 3 outs, and you get 3 outs per inning, which is the next thing. You get 9 innings in a game. So how you get an out is the pitcher tries to either throw the ball past the batter and pass him 3 times for a strike, 3 strikes or 4 balls. If you get 4 balls, you walk. If you get 3 strikes, you're out. Or another way you can get an out is the batter hits the ball, the fielder picks it up, throws it to the base that the batter's running towards, or the batter can hit it in the air and the fielder can catch it. How you score is you have to run around all the bases and you have to touch home plate. That's how you get 1 run. And then you have umpires which try to keep the game fair. They try to keep it even. And in any normal game, you're going to see two umpires. In like the college and pros, you're going to see 4. And then in like the really big games, like the World Series and the playoffs, you're going to see 6. So now I'm talking about structure. You have 30 teams in the MLB. This is the structure of the MLB to the highest level of baseball. You have 30 teams in 2 conferences, the AL and the NL, which I talked about before. And you have 3 divisions in each conference. You have the Central, the East, and the West. And then the playoff series is you take the team with the best record from each division, and they're in the playoffs. And then you take the team outside of those 3 teams that has the best record, and they're in the playoffs. Until recently, they've picked the top 2 teams outside of those 3 teams to be in. They play a game to get into the playoffs. But that's how it would be for a long time. And then it would be bracket style. So these 2 teams would play, the winner goes here, these 2 teams would play, the winner goes here, then these guys would play, and until you get to the 2 best. And that's the World Series. And the winner of that World Series wins the World Series and get trophies and all that kind of stuff. And I can't talk about the World Series without showing this video.
Oh.
This was in 2008 when the Phillies won the World Series. I'm not going to say it was the best moment of my life because it wasn't, but it was a very good moment in my life. Phillies are my favorite team, so.
forceful help from that standpoint. And he hits a fly ball. It's well hit to right. Reddick.
Oh, this is honestly. Check that fly ball. This one's good as Alright. So now I'm going to talk about some key figures in the game that baseball really kind of influences for the left, and I'm going to show you proof some of these. This is Jackie Robinson. He was the first black player to ever play in the MLB. He had a lot of racism come down on him, and I mean, it was really bad. And there was a movie that just came out about him last year, I believe. And if you guys get a chance, you should go watch it. It's a really good movie. This is Babe Ruth. Babe Ruth was the first man to really started to hit home runs, and he really made home runs kind of popular. And then this is Pete Rose. He's the leader of the MLB in hits, like ever. He has over 4,000 hits. But he was actually kicked out of baseball. He was kicked out because he was gambling on games, and you're not allowed to do that, so he got kicked out. And this is Derek Jeter. Derek Jeter is probably the most popular player out there at the moment out there. So, like, he plays for the biggest organization of baseball, the Yankees, and he's their captain, and he's awesome. And then this is Josh Hamilton. Josh Hamilton's my favorite player just because of his story. His story makes him an awesome person. I don't have time to go into his story, but if you have a chance, go look up Josh Hamilton. His story is really awesome. Baseball has its stories, it has its history, it has its rules, but the best thing about baseball is it brings people together. And I think personally for me, I don't have the best relationship with my dad, but one of the things that we bond over is we bond over baseball. And that's really awesome.